Hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm continuing the story of Tieu San and hoai. In the previous episode, amid layers of misunderstandings and the silent fear weighing heavily on her heart, hoai finally found Tieu San and Ivy at a deserted beach. That scene remains deeply etched in their memories, the waves crashing against the shore like the restless beating of anxious hearts, the cold sea wind striking their faces but unable to match the chill of the silent suffering Tieu San had endured alone. It was at that moment that she revealed the entire truth about her premature ovarian failure. A truth she had kept hidden for so long out of fear that it would become an insurmountable barrier between them. That illness was not just a dry medical diagnosis. It was a haunting fear stretching through countless sleepless nights, through the quiet moments when she watched Ivy sleep and wondered what her own future would be. She knew her chances of conceiving naturally were almost gone, and for a woman who cherished family as deeply as she did, that was a pain too heavy to name. Because she loved Hai so much, she chose to leave. She believed that if she disappeared, he would not have to carry an uncertain future on his shoulders. But what Tieu San never expected was that Hai would refuse to let go. He did not blame her, did not resent her, and did not question why she left. Instead, he only cared about how much she had suffered alone. He chose to stay. He chose to love her even more. He chose to face the truth with her rather than run from it. In this episode, as the final days of the year approach, the city gradually dresses itself in the vibrant colors of the Lunar New Year. Streets grow busier, shops hang red lanterns and festive couplets, and the scent of incense drifts gently through the cold late winter air. Amid the bustling rhythm of life, hoai carries a determination stronger than ever. He cannot accept standing by while Tieu San continues to endure even one more day of silent worry. To him, her fears are his own. He understands that words of comfort alone are not enough. What she truly needs is a clearer hope, a more concrete direction for the future. Using all his connections and resources, Hai quietly searches for the best treatment options for her. Phone calls follow one after another for days. Emails are exchanged with specialists. Short meetings are arranged between his already packed year-end schedule. Everything revolves around a single goal: finding a solution for Tieu San. He does not boast or seek recognition. He simply does everything within his ability, silently and steadily. After many discussions, Hai is introduced to a renowned doctor in Japan who has years of experience successfully treating premature ovarian failure with a high recovery rate. The information he receives is not vague promises, but real results from actual cases, patients who once faced circumstances similar to Tieu San's. Holding the documents outlining treatment methods and specific medical protocols, Hai realizes he has found a ray of light in the long-standing darkness. He does not hesitate. To him, even a 1% chance is worth trying. And so, he proposes traveling to Japan for treatment before the Lunar New Year, a time when he would normally be at his busiest with work, year-end reports, and strategic planning for the company's new year. However, upon hearing this, Tieu San can only choke back tears and shake her head. Her eyes reveal deep concern. She fears affecting his work during the most important season of the year for any business. She understands his position and responsibility, that every decision he makes impacts not only himself but many others as well. She also worries about the high cost of treatment, afraid that she is forcing him to sacrifice too much for an uncertain possibility. Deep inside, she still feels guilty, as if her illness itself has become a burden. But Hai does not allow those fears to grow. He gently takes her hand, his grip firm yet warm and steady. His eyes hold no hesitation, no calculation of loss or gain. In the quiet space of the room he slowly speaks, his voice low but unwavering. Money can be earned again. Work can be arranged. But if I let you face this alone, that's something I could never forgive myself for. Those words are more than encouragement, they are a declaration of his choice. For Hai, what matters most now is not year-end numbers or reports waiting for approval, but the woman sitting in front of him, the one who once left in silence because she loved him too much. He has found her again, and this time, he will not let fear separate them ever again. Before the departure day, when everything had been carefully arranged and the plane tickets lay neatly on the table, Hai brought Ivy to stay with his mother. In the days leading up to the Lunar New Year, her house seemed wrapped in a special kind of warmth, steam rising thickly from the pot of bonchang boiling over a red fire in the yard, the rich scent of coconut jam gently filling the air, and cheerful laughter echoing amid the busy year-end preparations. The atmosphere carried a rare sense of peace, as if every worry had temporarily remained outside the gate. Ivy quickly blended into that joyful rhythm. She ran around the yard, chattering beside her grandmother, her tiny hands trying to help arrange boxes of sweets on the table. Her clear laughter rang through the fragrance of tet, making Tieu San stand still for a few seconds, her throat tightening with emotion. Watching her daughter so happy brought both reassurance and deep gratitude. In that moment, she realized how fortunate she was that Hai did not only love her with promises, he loved everything that belonged to her, including Ivy. He carefully instructed his mother about every small detail, from Ivy's meals to her bedtime routine. The way he looked at the little girl was filled with natural tenderness, like that of a true father. There was no hesitation, no distinction, no second thought. That unconditional affection softened Tieu San's heart, soothing the quiet guilt she had carried for so long. As they left his mother's house, Tieu San turned back to look at Ivy one more time. She took a deep breath, steadying herself for the journey ahead. This trip was not merely a medical treatment. It was her chance to step out of the fear that had haunted her for so long. In the chilly final days of the year, the two of them arrived in Japan. The unfamiliar city shimmered with winter lights, its streets clean and orderly, people moving quietly through the sharp, biting cold. Beneath the pale gray sky, Hai and Tieu San walked side by side, hands clasped together, their hearts filled with intertwined thoughts. Hope was there, but so was silent anticipation. The treatment began with a series of intensive examinations. Tieu San underwent hormonal testing, detailed ultrasounds, and close monitoring of every small indicator in her body. Each number appearing on the screen made her heart tighten slightly. Some days the medication left her exhausted, dizzy, her steps heavy as if weighed down by stones. She would sit quietly in the waiting room, watching people pass by, feeling as though time itself had slowed to an unbearable crawl. Yet every time she opened her eyes, every time uncertainty crept in, the first person she saw was Hai. He sat beside her, his hand always holding hers like a steady anchor. He listened carefully to every word from the doctor, memorized every instruction, and arranged everything with meticulous care. On nights when she was too tired to speak and could only stare at the ceiling, he remained there without many words, his gaze filled with quiet faith, as if silently transferring strength to her. That constant presence erased her sense of loneliness. A month passed in a rhythm of follow-up visits, anxious waits for results, and small hopes growing with each improved index. They did not dare to predict anything. They simply held hands and moved forward step by step. And then on the final morning before returning to Vietnam for the Lunar New Year, inside the quiet consultation room, the doctor smiled and delivered the results. Her hormone levels had stabilized. Ovarian function had improved significantly. In the future, Tieu San could naturally conceive. In that moment, all sound seemed to fade. Tieu San stood frozen for a few seconds before tears overflowed uncontrollably. But these were no longer tears of shame, fear, or torment. They were tears of gratitude, of immense relief after a long period that had once felt hopeless. She could feel the heavy burden in her heart finally lifted, as if the cold winter itself had melted away to make room for warm sunlight. Hai pulled her into a tight embrace right there in the clinic. His hands trembled with emotion, yet his arms remained firm and protective. He did not say much. He simply rested his forehead gently against her hair and whispered, his voice thick with feeling, "Having a child or not is never more important than your health. But today, I am truly happy." That whisper was not just joy at good news. It was a confirmation of everything they had endured together. As the final days of the year quietly drew to a close, while the world outside prepared to welcome a new spring, Hai and Tieu San were also welcoming a new beginning of their own, one built on faith, patience, and a love that refused to let go. In the final days of the year, after completing all the necessary procedures and closing their emotional treatment journey abroad, they returned to Vietnam together. The plane landed under the pale sunlight of late winter, carrying in their hearts a mixture of relief and indescribable emotion. The airport was more crowded than usual. People hurried along with rolling suitcases, arms full of tech gifts, faces glowing with excitement at the thought of returning home after a long year. The festive atmosphere slipped into every step, every glance, every hurried greeting. Amid that lively scene, Tieu San gently tightened her grip on Hai's hand. There had been days when she felt as though every door in her life had closed, when she feared an uncertain and shadowed future. But now, walking among the crowds preparing to welcome the new year, her heart felt lighter than ever. Not simply because her medical numbers had improved, but because she knew she was no longer alone. As soon as they arrived home, the first thing Hai did was take Tieu San to pick up Ivy. The little girl ran out and threw her arms around both of them, as if she had been waiting for that very moment. Ivy's laughter filled the house, and every lingering emptiness seemed to disappear. Her grandmother smiled warmly, her eyes reflecting relief as she saw them return safely and in good health. The following days unfolded in the familiar rhythm of tet preparations, yet warmer than ever before. The three of them gathered together to wrap Bon Chung. Hai clumsily arranged the leaves, Ivy curiously asked about every step, and Tieu San sat beside them, her hands moving skillfully while her eyes held a softness that had not been there before. The scent of fresh dong leaves, new sticky rice, and mung beans blended together, spreading throughout the kitchen. There were no more sleepless nights filled with worry, no more silent tears shed in fear. Only gentle laughter and small stories about the year that had passed. They decorated a peach blossom branch in front of the house. The pale pink buds trembled lightly in the cold breeze, signaling that spring was truly near. Hai carefully hung each red lucky envelope. Ivy stood on her tiptoes to help him place a few sparkling lights. Tieu San stepped back and watched the scene, her heart overflowing with emotion. For the first time after a long stretch of tears and uncertainty, she felt a complete sense of peace. Not a fragile or temporary calm, but a deep inner steadiness, one built on trust and companionship. On the final evening of the year, when the house was tidied and incense fragrance drifted softly through the warm space, Tieu San sat quietly beside Hai. Outside, the city was gradually preparing for midnight. Distant laughter echoed faintly, traffic sounds thinned out, and the sky seemed to be waiting for the sacred moment of transition. Tieu San gently rested her head on Hai's shoulder. She understood then that happiness is not a life without hardship. It is not a life where everything unfolds perfectly. Happiness is having someone who refuses to let go of your hand in the midst of storms. It is having a strong shoulder to lean on when you are at your weakest. It is knowing that whenever tears fall, there is someone beside you to wipe them away and say, "We will get through this together." As the first fireworks prepared to burst across the sky, Tieu San smiled softly. The old year had closed with challenges, but it had also opened a new door filled with hope. In Hai's embrace and in Ivy's innocent laughter, she knew she had found the courage to move forward. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a comment to congratulate Tieu San. What miracle will the new year bring to their little family? See you all in the next episode.
Xin chào tất cả mọi người đã quay trở lại với kênh của mình. Nay thì mình tiếp tục đưa đến video về câu chuyện của Tiểu San và Hải nhé mọi người. Bây giờ thì mình đang bắt đầu làm video. Còn ảnh thu thì mình vẫn chưa làm nữa cơ. Bây giờ thì mình sẽ xong hết các bước rồi. Bây giờ mình đặt tên video. Cảm ơn mọi người rất nhiều. Tạm biệt mọi người nhé.